Hello, everyone, and happy Valentine's Day. My name is Gary. I'm here with the Wax Nostalgic Network, and today I'm doing something that will hopefully become an annual tradition for us here at the Wax Nostalgic Network. I'm going to be going through some old school Valentine's Day cards. Now, the majority of these are from the 90s, some are from the 80s, and one or two may be post 90s, but it's hard to say because they're not exactly stamped with the date. First up, you know them from Disney. There's 101 of them. It's the 101 Dalmatians. Now, there's not exactly a date on these, so I'm not totally sure when this one would have come out. I'm guessing either early 90s with maybe a VHS re-release, or more than likely later on in the 90s whenever either the movies came out or the 101 Dalmatians, the series, was released. But I just think this is a cute little card, and it's one that you would give to your teacher. That was one that I didn't include a lot of teacher cards in here, and in fact, this might be the only one. But I thought that it was super cool that, you know, they included a card for you to give to your teachers as well as your classmates. Next up, he's probably one of the most easily recognizable characters of the 1980s. It is Alf. Now, I remember these, maybe not specifically for Alf so much as I remember there were like some Toy Story ones, I believe, although those may not have been Valentine's Day cards. But as you can see, he's got the cutout around him so that he could be punched out and displayed. There's probably a little flap in the back that folds out so that he would stand up on his own. And, you know, Alf was just super iconic, and I thought that this card was really neat. Next, moving back to Disney, we've got Aladdin with a wonderful pun that cracked me up whenever I saw it, and I thought, I've got to include this. I'm in the market for a friend like you. It's a double pun. One, friend like me. Two, he's in the market. I mean, that's some 90s quality punning right there. Next up, we've got a Barbie card, which to me, nothing says 1992 more than this image right here. I mean, look at the colors, look at the outfits, look at the fact that she's got a black and pink beret. He's got what I'm assuming is a yellow and green hat, maybe yellow, green, and pink. They're matchy-matchy in the worst and also best kind of way. And then just to add some extra oomph, the card is equally matchy-matchy with them. Now, I know a fair amount about Barbie and Ken, but I'm not actually sure what the 711 that's printed on a shirt means. I don't know if that's like a Barbie area code or the number that Barbie dials for emergencies, or I don't know. I'm not sure what 711 means, but maybe it's not exclusive to Barbie. Maybe it's something else. But this is from 1992, as is this other Barbie card, which is a complete 180 in the style department. This is a classy Valentine. I mean, look at those colors. Look at that jacket and the like hat thingy and the crazy long hair. This is a Barbie that is very ready to go shopping in the year 1992. And I love that her purse also kind of matches the outfit. I don't know if this was actually a doll or not, but if it was, that's a cool doll. But I just love the colors and think that she looks lovely in a 90s kind of way. Next up, something very different from Barbie. It's Batman. And I think that this card is really fun for a number of reasons. It is from the same year as the Barbie card, though, so that's kind of cool. But it's got Batman facing off against the Joker. The Joker's got a gun pointed at him. He pulls the trigger. It says, "Be mine." Now, that reads really well. That seems like something that the Joker would do as a Valentine prank on Batman. And I just love the overall design of this card. And I realize my face is cutting off a little bit, but the heart behind the Joker's leg says smile. Next up, another Batman card. My favorite villain from the Batman franchise, and the animated look of the Riddler is easily probably my favorite look of his. I just think he looks so cool. And I remember this card And I remember getting this card set, and this was the one that I had a hard time getting rid of because I wanted to keep it for myself because I love Riddler so much. And it's also got not a riddle, but a question. So, I mean, maybe it would have worked better for the questioner, but, you know, it'll do for the Riddler. Next up is a hero of the planet, the one and only Captain Planet. On this card, he says, "The power is yours. Have a great day." As anyone who grew up in the late 80s, early 90s knows, Captain Planet's slogan was, "The power is yours." And I think it's really fun how they transitioned it into a card. This is from 1990, TBS production and Deke. Up next, it's Beetlejuice. I just thought that this was cool. I mean, this is from, let's see, also from 1990. This is Beetlejuice from the animated series. You got Beetlejuice popping out of a tree and handing a heart to Lydia. And you can see that his name is said 3 times and then followed by "Be Mine," which I think is just, it's really nice. And I love the color choices in this card. Next up, someone who was a Nickelodeon icon who liked to explain it all. That's right, it's Clarissa. This is a very busy card, and I was looking through all of her cards, and I picked my 2 favorite, and there are actually a lot of Clarissa Explains It All cards, and I'm not totally certain why. And they seem to vary, like, in terms of the years, because Disney's not good at putting dates on cards, but Nickelodeon and Viacom did much better in that department in the 90s anyways. This is the first Clarissa card that I chose. She says, "I want to be your Valentine, but don't expect me to tattoo your name on my arm or anything." And that's some of that 90s sass that I really, really like. The next one is from, I believe this wave is from 1996. The next wave, or not wave, but the next card is from earlier, I want to say. Yeah, this is from the 1993 Valentine's set. And, you know, this is the kind of card that if the girl or guy that you liked gave it to you, you would be going, "What does that mean? That's kind of cold." And it's funny. I mean, there's a word for what we are to each other. Friends, which is a sweet sentiment, but her expression feels a little like, we're friends, hard stop. That's it. Nothing else. I don't know. Just reads that way to me. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but I remember that feeling of getting cards from, you know, the person that I liked, and I'm like, oh, is this going to say that they love me? And, you know, no, they didn't. They said, "I think you're neat," or "I think you're cool," or whatever. And, you know, nice to get a card, but maybe not what you wanted to say. Next up is one, I'm not totally sure of the year that it comes from, but it's a icon that we lost far too soon, Steve Irwin. And I like the pun on this one, "Wallaby my Valentine." I mean, it's him with a wallaby. It's perfect. The next one cracked me up whenever I was looking through these. And it's also Steve Irwin. It's, "I jump at the chance to be your Valentine." And as you can see, he is in the process of running away from a crocodile that's, you know, probably not too happy with him. So I just thought that was really funny and decided to include it. Jumping back a bit, we got Disney's Dinosaurs. It says, "You're my kind of life form," which I think is a weirdly succinct way of saying, you know, I dig you. But it made me laugh a little bit. And then the fact that there's an exploding volcano in the background, it's a nice little detail, but also, you know, doom impending, I'd say. Sticking with the dinosaur train, but not the dinosaur train that's on TV now, it's baby Sinclair, and he says, "It's Valentine's Day, gotta love it." And I love that he's teething on a heart-shaped rock. I think it's a cute little card. Next up is Nickelodeon's Doug from 1993. And it's Doug and Porkchop hanging out at the movies, having some popcorn, drinking some soda. And I just think it's a nice little card. Sticking with Doug, but moving into the future to Disney's Doug. This is just one that I thought was neat. And I've always kind of thought that Porkchop transitioned the best between the two series. But this is a nice little pun, and I love bowling, so I thought I would include it. Staying with Disney, we've got a few cards from Goof Troop. First up, it's Goofy and Max, and it says, Valentine, you're a great catch. Clearly, Goofy's caught the boat, because that's what Goofy does, and Max is excited to grab the catch out of the water, not realizing that, Goofy's probably pulled the cork out of the bottom of the boat or something, and they're about to sink. At least that's what seems to be on brand for Goofy and Maximilian. Next up is Goofy pogoing his way onto wet cement. This card makes very little sense to me in terms of the romance department, but I do like it. Next is Goofus Maximus, you're a crowd pleaser. It's got Goofy, Pete, Max, and PJ all hanging out with each other, holding a heart. I had to include it because Pete's my favorite character. It's not really romantic or anything. These next few are from the first Jurassic Park film, and they are weird, and I thought they had to be included. Here we have a raptor, and it says, I like you something fierce. Next up is probably my favorite of the bunch. I should have saved this for last. Another shot of a raptor, but it just says, keep smiling. And the raptor's kind of smiling in a weird sort of way. This one is, joking on the height of the dinosaur. You're way up there. I thought that was kind of fun. Next up is the Dilophosaurus with You're a Scream. And last but not least is the T-Rex saying, You're dynamite. I'm certain that they could have come up with a better quote for him, but at any rate, that's what he says. And I love Jurassic Park. All these are from 1992, by the way. And it's not the whole set, but these are my favorites from it. Next up, jumping back to Disney, we got Lion King. And it's got a nice little quote, Remember who you are. Someone terrific. Now, it's paraphrasing, of course, but I just think the colors and everything about this card are gorgeous, so I wanted to include it. Next is another cartoon, but a far cry from the quality of Lion King. It's The Mask, and these are from 1996. This one is The Mask in his classic yellow tuxedo with his eyes bulging out at, I'm assuming, the guy or girl that you're handing this card to. And it's a little forward, actually. But it's amusing to me that this was deemed important enough to get a card, so I had to include it. Following that with Milo. Also from The Mask. I'm not really sure why they included the psychotic deranged dog, but since I love him, I had to include him. And I love how he's taken a chunk out of the bottom portion of the heart on the card. Following Milo, in not a very smooth transition whatsoever, is Michael Jordan. There was a whole series of Jordan cards, and I just included the two. This one, I think is cool. Slam dunk a super day. Everybody wants to slam dunk a super day on Valentine's Day, so I thought that one was nice. And then this one is just awkward. I mean, between the semi-awkward photo of MJ and then just the card that says, you're cool. Like, I would expect this from a Shaquille O'Neal card, right? Which, by the way, I got to look up and see if there are any Shaq Valentine's Day cards. But jumping to the Page Master, this is just a nice little card that includes the Page Master, Macaulay Culkin's character, with the 3 books that he befriends. And these are from 1994. And this is just another one that I really like the card art on. And it's no fiction, you're a thriller. This one, I mean, it's on the nose. How can you get better than this, just in terms of telling someone that you like them? I choose you. And it's a nice Pokemon pun to go with it. Back to Disney, we got Pocahontas, wishing you a friend-filled, fun-filled day. And it's Pocahontas with Miko and Flit. There are multiple cards in this set. I have never been able to find one with a Percy, though, and that upsets me a great deal. Next up, jumping to Nickelodeon, we got Rugrats. I just thought this was a neat little card. No more adventures for me without you, Valentine. And it's Chucky being lifted into the air by Be Mine balloons and Tommy trying to save him by holding on to his shoestring. Now, I think this one's interesting because a lot of times the card art that you see is just a reproduction of something else. Like they just took a picture from something else. And maybe this is from some sort of press release or something. But the fact that the red balloon is shaped like a heart makes me think that this was drawn specifically for the card. I don't know that to be true, but at any rate, this is from Viacom in 1997. Next up, we got a few Sesame Street cards. First, we have the count. 1, 2, 3, you can count on me. Ah, ah, ah. I love the card art here. I mean, it's just gorgeous, but I just love the textures of the colors there. And I think it's quite pretty. Next up is everyone's favorite Grouch. And he's saying to have a yucky day. Never understood why Oscar the Grouch spells yucky in such a way. I remember it was spelled that way in a book or two as well. And I remember as a kid thinking, have I just always spelled this wrong? And no, it turns out it's just Oscar who spells it wrong for some reason. And last but not least, it's Super Grover. And he says, it is I with a high. And I love that he's carrying a little heart under his arm, presumably chocolates. And while we're on the subject of beautiful card art, these next 2 cards are just like, wow, this is pretty. And they are from Tailspin. And this one is of Baloo and Kit saying, me and you, we make a great crew. And like I said, it's a different art style than the series, and I just think it's super gorgeous to look at. The next one has Becky and Wildcat, and it's Wildcat saying, I'm fixing to be your Valentine, which anyone who knows anything about Wildcat, he fixed things. Not always well, but he fixed things. So I just thought these 2 cards were really nice and had to be included on the list. Next up, we got Ninja Turtles. We got a set of 3 here. First up is from 1991. It's the 4 turtles saying, you're a cool dude. They're coming out of the sewer and the hearts are around their head. Now, the lip of the sewer kind of makes no sense, but, you know, let's not harp on details. The fact that we got these and they're so nice, that's all that really matters. Also from 1991, it's Rafael and Mondo Gecko. Apparently, Mondo Gecko was a big enough deal in 91 to get included on a card. It's very rare that you see, you know, I don't want to say first or like secondary, but like maybe third area or fourth area characters getting a card. But it's really cool to see that Mondo Gecko was included. His design is a little bit different than I remember it being too. So that's an even more interesting little piece to it. Last but not least, in the Ninja Turtle cards, we have Bebop and Rocksteady with Be My Valentine. And they're driving around in the space cruiser, and it's just a nice little card. I think it's really cool to look at. We're wrapping it up here. We're on the last few cards, but I don't think that they sink in quality whatsoever, because how can they when we're talking about Tiny Toon Adventures? This one is Dizzy Devil and Plucky. Anyways, these are from 1997, which is oddly late for Tiny Toon Adventures, but I mean, they still were releasing video games in the mid 2000s, so I guess they were just holding on to that property and doing whatever they could with it. But this one's cute. It's got Plucky soaring past Dizzy Devil, holding a heart, and they're both roller skating. Now you can see that Plucky's a rollerblades guy, and Dizzy Devil's a I don't know what you call him, toe tapper, skates kind of guy. Next up is one of my favorite characters, Go-Go, and he says, "You've stolen my heart." Now this one's from 1992, which is a much more logical time frame for a Tiny Toons card to exist. And last but not least, two of my favorite underrated Tiny Toons characters. You got Lil Beeper and Calamity Coyote. And they're in bumper cars, which is another thing of the past that you just don't hear much about these days. And yeah, I just think this is a cute little card. And the fact that they included these two relatively obscure characters made my day. So moving on to the last card of this set. Best friends on Valentine's Day. What could that mean? Well, this is the back of a card that I saw and I erupted in joyous laughter because it is for Good Burger. As you can see, it's Ed and Dexter, and they're holding a burger, and they have these, you know, colorful little cartoon hearts around them, and it's the weirdest but coolest card, I feel like, in this bunch. Maybe of the 90s, but that could just be my interest speaking here. But yeah, I just, when I saw this one, I was like, I have to include this. It's too cool not to. But that is it. That is all of the Valentine's Day cards that I'm going to include in this first video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I will, like I said, hopefully do this again next year. And I hope that you have a very happy Valentine's Day. And if you don't celebrate Valentine's Day, then I hope you have a great Monday. Or whatever day you're watching this on. So don't forget to like and subscribe. I try to come out with all sorts of interesting nostalgia-related content. And thank you guys for watching. And don't forget to stay nostalgic. Later, guys.